I want you to think about whether you're willing to be witnessed. And when you're seen in your challenge as it is, becomes much easier to move through it. This is the energy work Thoth has taught me the most. With all the channelings that I'm honored to do, this is always what he said is most important for what I have to share. Welcome, guys. Good to see you. So we begin it's a quest. How can we help you most today, right now? That's not always the biggest problem you have. That's how can we most help you today? And that can begin with a question you have, or you can simply ask me to read what I see. You can begin either way. Heather.
There it is. Hello.
Let's go on a quest to support you, Heather. How can we support you best today?
Okay, well, that whole thing was just like a full experience. And my diamond eye told me to ask about the bladder and the fear.
So, the bladder is one of the most prominent places that we get rid of fear. It's a bizarre interplay between energy and physicality, where this mechanism we have for release is taking in something that's usually subconscious. So even if you think you know where the fear comes from, it's usually something a little bit deeper. But one thing we can know, when it gets stuck in this loop with the bladder, it means there's a fear that it's not supposed to be ongoing. So there is something to heal and change. And I want you to come from that to begin with. I know this over time. Like again and again, people have this symptom in a situation where it can get fundamentally better. If I were to say, Heather, what is an ongoing fear that you carry? What would you say?
I have an ongoing fear that I'm not safe and that I can't feel my lower chakra, like my body. I'm not in my body. Yeah. I'm so comfortable in the upper chakras. Mm-hmm. I lost my heart somewhere and I can't feel my root. Mm-hmm. And go. I can't sleep and I can't, because of my bladder. And I know that essentially it's the fear. And I'd been a heroin addict for a long time. I also wonder if I have any like parasites left in me from that. But the fear is the biggest. That's why I needed the heroin. You know what I mean? Like the fear has been a lifelong fear.
So first of all, I don't want to, and on a certain level, that's dropping a bomb. I've been a heroin addict for a long time. And in another,
I had assumed you knew that.
Sorry. No, I didn't. And it's fine. We're here to heal such things. Please appreciate the only relationship I understand to any strong addiction is an attempt to self-medicate. Mm-hmm. So the challenge is not the addiction. The challenge is, what are you trying to self-medicate?
Fear.
Okay. Fear of what?
Speaking. I feel like I could scream for 30 years and it wouldn't be satisfying.
Okay. So when someone says that, I'm immediately clued into some kind of entanglement you've gotten with forces beyond yourself. And I'd say, are you living out fear that is not all your own?
Totally.
That's like trying to empty a well of an oil rig. Like, if you try to heal this as if it's you could be addicted to the rest of it for the rest of your life. The sacral chakra controls the bladder. The sacral chakra is all about ideally healthy intimacy, but at worst, unhealthy entanglement.
Yeah.
So at what point did you get unhealthily entangled to the point where you were identifying with something that wasn't you?
Birth.
Well, that was profound and clear, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking inherited trauma. Now notice how I'm doing this. We're just going. We step as if the next step is solid and it reveals another thing, right? The resonance in the way you say birth, profound, present, I trust this is a good clue. Birth. So you're born into a family where you're given inherited trauma. You were taught to know yourself as something more than yourself.
Yeah. I remember like the moment, you know, when you like take a Polaroid of somebody and the light freezes their eyes like that, because it was just violence in my home.
Well, I mean, that's more than profound.
So
violence towards you?
then like, no, my mom, you know, my dad and my mom.
Yeah.
And I was like the little 5-year-old on the chair, like, Nanny, come get me. Like, da da da. Like, I knew it was fucked up. I knew it wasn't my fault. What the fuck? Everybody, sorry, my mouth. I'm like born into madness, man. I just
okay,
paint with the fat brush.
so look, you seem to have a clear understanding of that.
Yeah.
Do you believe you can change it?
I do. And I'm trying to get at the root of the thing. And it's very frustrating because I feel like I've been working on my life. You know what I mean? I was aware of this as a child.
Okay. So look, I would say 3/4 of the people to more that I work with, the challenge is to encourage them that it's healthy to look at their problems, right? But we know something fundamental about you based on your YouTube tagline, yes?
Yes.
Is it possible you have over-identified with the dirty work?
Yes.
So there's a simple remedy to this. You have to have a real dream.
Okay.
Do you have a real dream?
It feels extremely vague, you know. No.
Start it.
Okay.
What is it? Like, give me anything.
Well, there's little things and there's big things. The biggest thing is I just want like a punk rock homestead, you know? I want to grow my own food. I want a community where I feel warm. I want musicians and writers and artists and intellectuals, and I want them to be safe, and I want them to come and be part of my community. And let's do it, right? And then like if you want to go on the road, go on the road. Come back here. It's cool. View it. We'll make YouTube shows, whatever. Like if you're a disabled musician, freaking we have film setups.
Okay,
like,
so let me just work with this a little, because sometimes challenge is healthy and you end up just stronger where you are.
mm-hmm.
My read of you is that you might actually need a little more privacy than that.
Yeah.
You have a challenge with being entangled and not knowing who you are. So if your dream is all about opening your doors really broadly to very intense, likely troubled souls, that might feed right into the negative mechanisms you're already suffering from.
Right. So I need to kind of like
Could you boundary that dream? Maybe they could come over on Sunday to play some music.
I mean, for my own purposes, like my own dream is just to like be a good musician and writer.
All right.
That's simple enough.
And what are your living circumstances?
Human. I live with my son and his father.
And where? Like, are you?
I'm living in a suburb in Tennessee, and I don't know how to drive, and it's driving me absolutely.
Can you grow food where you are?
You know what?
Can you grow food where you are?
Oh yeah. That's like my thing, kind of, is learning how to garden, because I'm like a New Yorker in Tennessee, and it's like a whole wild new world. I've learned.
May I invite you to take this step by step?
Yes, please.
So if you put it too far in the future and you immediately read it through, I want a punk rock homestead where people can go and come back at will, I think that would feed very negatively into your difficulty drawing boundaries. But if you took it step by step and you said, let's develop your musical ability and have people come over on Sunday and leave.
Yeah, that would be more reasonable.
Then if they're well enough behaved, maybe they can come over on Wednesday too. But I want you to think in terms of drawing lines like that, because this is about knowing yourself. You have, bless your living soul, you decided to look at one of the deepest wells of pain that tapped into ancestral pain and identify as someone who's going to try to heal it all.
Yeah.
And I'd like to invite you out of that a little and say, whoa, like, good job. You tackled a lot. I'd like you to cultivate a sense of self for a little while. And then from a clear sense of self, work on how much you can share in a way that's healthy.
Makes sense.
Do you feel like you have a reasonably healthy relationship with your son's father?
Reasonably, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like we've both have childhood trauma, so it's like,
Sure.
working with that, dealing
Yeah.
with that,
Okay.
learning, that it's like you're not an asshole, I'm an asshole too. And
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
growing, learning and healing,
Okay.
So
What's on
yeah.
your shoulder? On your left shoulder, what's
Oh,
going on? Tune into your left shoulder.
it's very hot.
Yeah. Breathe with it. If you breathe with that, what do you see? What do you sense?
I just feel like people won't get off me. Like I feel lonely, but I also feel like I just want my space and leave me
Yeah.
alone. Me do
That's
my
why
thing.
right now, Heather, if you chill out your punk rock homestead dream, I think you're going to make a real big benefit for yourself. It's hard making a family work. And if you can take someone in at some point in the future effectively, you have changed a life. It is a big deal to let someone come into your home. And I want you to dream of it, but dream of it with awareness and consciousness.
I think I just want a family that like feels good and safe and warm and like likes to do the things that I want to do.
That sounds beautiful.
That's all. I don't need 43 people, but like
There you
one
go.
good connection would be fucking cool.
Okay. What's a song you want to learn?
Sympathy for the devil.
Really?
No, not at all. That was the first thing that came
Oh
to
my
mind.
God, you need training wheels.
I
Okay.
feel like I have like a something. Do you read my energy field? I don't want to take up the whole time. Please tell me to get off.
We're
But like,
wrapping it up.
my
I
energy
want to
field,
leave
is
you with
there
the
a fucking
homework.
parasite in there? Because I feel like that's my maybe it's just automatic programming is just my
I think
reaction.
it is.
Identify with the dirty work, right?
Exactly. What's a
dirty-
prayer? What's a song that you could learn as a prayer, a positive dream for the future you want to create? The song is a prayer for it.
The first thing that comes to my mind is Peace Train.
All right. Can you print out Peace Train this week?
Yes.
All right. That's some homework.
Okay. I love homework.
Okay. And the other part of your homework, do you know what you're going to plant in your garden this year?
I have some seeds saved. Yes. Herbs and tomatoes.
I'd like you to spend some
Green.
time meditating on it. Daydream
Yeah.
about it. Think ahead. This is the time right now. The dead of winter is the time when you plan your garden.
Yeah, I've never planned anything.
So I want you to think about planning this, okay?
All right. Will do.
We'll check in.
Thank you.
Good job, Heather. Dirty work turns into compost, turns into fresh soil. You just take it on a little more than you can handle, all right?
Thank you. I appreciate all of you.
Bless you, Heather. Luminita.
Hello.
How can we begin your quest, Luminita?
My quest will be what is best for me to focus on this week, actually, and what you see in my energy that needs attention.
So watch how we do this over time, all right? Because I do push things into your court sometimes. During the meditation, what stood out the most?
This area.
On your left side of your chest?
In the heart area.
Yeah. And on the left side.
Where I had tension.
Yeah. So some of this is sort of math, right? Left side is receptivity. And in your heart, that immediately tells me that like this isn't even complicated psychic reading, right? Like this immediately tells me that you received a lot of intense energy and tried to hold it with love in a way that is still a burden to you.
Yeah, it's what's happening these days, this week, past weeks.
So can you talk to me about, imagine this process of a really intense energy coming into your life and you trying to be more loving than it and to hold it with love.
So to talk to you about this, how it's going.
Yeah, just give me a little bit of
background.
Yeah.
So there is a person in my life, let's call it, that is really, really negative and perhaps I had suspicions of narcissist tendencies for a while, and then it's this dance inside me that is saying, okay, maybe it's not, it's just in the very beginning of the healing process, while on the other hand, it comes the wheel and it's like, okay, go away because it's really toxic. And then again comes the wheel, maybe it's you know, just hold the space and just be, and, you know, like let it happen. And then all the manipulation and all the, you know, energetic manipulation, mainly because it's not in real physical contact. After the physical meeting, it's a lot of rejection, and then pulling,
So
in a nutshell.
imagine these. For someone who was not raised with a healthy nurturing,
Yeah.
one of the most dominant expressions of carrying such trauma is the overpowering urge to get a difficult person to be loving with you.
Sorry, can you say that again?
So for someone who was raised without enough healthy love, like
Yeah.
a parental figure likely was traumatized and abusive themselves, or at the very least too cold-hearted.
Yeah.
So then into adulthood, as long as the trauma is unhealed, you carry this urge to try to get a difficult, wounded person to love you. It's like magnetic.
Like me, I'm trying to get that person to love me because
Yes.
I have the wound, and I'm looking at it, and I still don't see how I can heal it.
Exactly. So it's really a healthy urge. You have a healthy urge to heal a pattern inside yourself.
Yeah.
Now, my concern is this language of toxicity. I find it doesn't typically lead out of the pattern. Now, sometimes it does, but typically it just means somebody will attract someone else who's a little less toxic the next time.
Yeah, it's been my life in the past 3 years. But this specific person is like, you know, the wheel kept spinning and pushing and coming back and pushing, coming back, and it does have real associations with my mother in the way that I was not loved, of course.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do I get myself out of this? Because I'm seriously had enough. I had enough.
So I believe, in my experience, the pivot point is to identify really honestly, does this person really want to heal?
About
That's where
me
to
or the
draw
other
it.
person.
Yeah. No, the other
The
person.
other person, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I'm not. I'm just waiting for signs to see. But technically, I have feelings at some point that yes, but then it's a clear no, and then it's just mixed feelings.
Yeah.
It's confusion.
So I would urge you to take a little bit of step back and take a breath. Are you really in doubt?
I'm just hoping, perhaps.
So this hope,
Maybe I just want. I want this to happen too much.
yeah. And then if we trace that, if you can appreciate that the wanting it to happen is likely rooted in your own healthy urge to try to heal your own childhood trauma.
Yeah, because
And
it's a
you're playing
mirror.
it out with this other person.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not really about this other person.
But how do I tackle this healing in me?
Mm-hmm. So the first step is much like the class we did today, is to learn to feel it honestly from a deeper level of awareness. You've always known you carried trauma, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
childhood was not perfect.
of course. But to get a deeper awareness of it is to realize there's likely a little girl stuck inside you. Now tell me how much this paradigm has been a part of your life. That when we go through trauma, the part of ourselves that's hurt, it kind of separates from the rest of us. And so we get this kind of sub-personality of a wounded kid. And every once in a while in your life, often, you know, at annoying times, the wounded kid is suddenly prominent. It's the wounded kid is like, hey, this sucks. I'm in pain. Like,
Yeah, I looked at it. I don't know. I have this feeling that I'm super isolated from so many people, and I tended to believe that there is something, because okay, my father passed away when I was 5, and then I remained with my mother, who was a military kind of woman. I mean, not military in that real sense, but she was really do this, learn school, class A, blah, 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 10th grade. I mean, the maximum grade you can have in school, and no emotions, no nothing. Punished most of my childhood and all the
Mhm.
others. But then I have the feeling that I cannot even connect with people I mean, I had moments when I connected really, and then it's also, I'm withdrawing because and I think it's related to this same trauma.
Yeah.
And then I keep looking, and I do this meditation 2, 3 times a day sometimes now, since I started working with the sanctuary
Cool.
class. And there are things that keep coming, images from my childhood, and I look at them and I deep dive into them when I'm in a certain chakra, and
Mhm.
the image comes, and the rejection, and I make the correlation with my reality life, let's call it, with this other
Mhm.
person.
Mhm.
But then I don't know how to just continue with that or go deeper, or what is it. The other dissociation happened because of the trauma, and the two personalities, the kid and me, are not united, you say.
Yeah. And what you're doing is really a ton of work, partly because of your commitment. It looks to me like you have intuitively seen your patterns honestly enough that you've recognized that it's healthy to isolate for a little while. A lot of people go through this hermit phase. It's even a phase on YouTube to write about the hermit phase. I
Yeah,
think
I
it's,
enjoy it. I mean, I
yeah,
enjoy it. I just don't find the peace of being me fully. I have moments because of what happens on the other. It's like I'm always looking for something,
yeah,
It's
yeah. And the circle through happens in two ways. One, you have to kind of have a dream beyond anything that you knew, because you want to start to just even even gently water and nurture something that's outside your experience as it's been so far. And that gives you the leverage to turn around and look at these memories in a way that you can actually learn to be present and basically give the little girl a hug, a long hug. And it's a reintegration process that it only unfolds when you give the little girl a chance to feel her feelings inside you. Now, it's hard. You're on the other side of the world right now. So I've done a lot of this work in person in a way that's more effective, but I can also do it online. Some people don't. Some people like trying to do it more on their own. And that's why we've done our best to frame these meditations in a way that give you some tools and some support. And I don't dissuade you if you think you can, but you can also consider doing a series of sessions that could give you the opportunity to be witnessed and giving yourself a hug. You want to give yourself these hugs that let the little girl feel, not just think, not just images, not just memories, but feel the emotion of, holy shit, you knew when you were a little girl that something was wrong, right?
yeah.
Yeah. There's
I
there's
didn't know how to navigate better than to walk on the wire, not step on the left, on the right, because otherwise,
yeah. And much
yeah.
like much like I believe you could relate with Heather, the the pattern of being trained by a traumatized adult is really rough, because you end up learning how not to step on their triggers. So they train you to mirror their pattern. It's not your pattern, but they're training you to mirror it, because if you trigger them, you're going to have to deal with their chaos, their emotion, their backlash. And so even
Yeah.
once they're gone, you're left with this pattern that got trained into you. Do you believe you could change it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. So could you rest with that for a second? Breathe with your third eye on that one, okay? You just said something really clear. Yes, absolutely yes. You believe you can change these. Now I'm going to ask you another little bit of a difficult question for some folks. Do you believe in God?
In source, yes.
Source is fine. Any name you want to use. Right now, your crown is a little closed. What would that mean to you?
That it's clogged because of my current state of emotions.
And I would think that you could engage this as there's a little girl who's pissed off that she was mistreated. Like,
Yeah, well, probably, yes. She's pissed off. This little, I mean, the adult girl or woman, she is pissed off because of so much mistreatment and injustice.
yes. And the shift here would be to, like, I am not victim shaming you when I say
No.
we're attracted to dysfunctional relationships when we carry dysfunction. It doesn't mean it's your fault by any means. It doesn't mean this guy is any less of a narcissistic asshole. But to own it is to say, I don't want to think about this dude anymore. This is the narcissists want you to think about them, right?
Yeah, I know. I practice not to think about that.
Right.
So I see my energy, how it's flowing, and I try to
Nice.
keep it in my heart. And it's
Nice.
like, ooh, going again.
Nice.
And even in my falling asleep, I try not to give my energy away
Excellent.
because it's so much energy.
So
You
if
know.
you can stay with that and expect it to trace to an angry little wounded girl who needs a big hug. And she needs to be told, you can't drive. You're not in charge. You're too angry. You'd make bad decisions. But I love you. And I want you to come into the future and make something new now.
Okay.
Do you have long-term dreams?
Yes, of course I do.
Are you open to sharing any hint of them right now?
I feel very good in this community
Oh, bless you.
you try to build, and I want to help so that I also on the way discover my gem to help further others.
Thank you so much. That's
Thank you.
a beautiful reply. May I invite you to this week, do what you can to invest in a future free from this, and expect that to bring up the angry little girl at some point, and be ready to spend some time giving her a hug and inviting her to feel what she needs to feel, but she doesn't get to drive anymore.
Okay. I will invite her in. Thank you.
Thank you for your trust. You've done a lot.
I know it's always keep going. Is there any more?
Yeah. Well, you haven't tried this approach before, right?
I try giving the girl attention, but the hug, I mean, I give myself hugs whenever I feel a bit down.
Well, but now you've got all of
No.
us watching you as you say it, right?
Yeah.
And this
So
is
I
a new step, yes?
Yes, it's a new step
Awesome.
because
So-
of the technique and because of the meditation and because everything. I mean, it's normal that it's intense and it comes to surface, and I'm super glad because once they come to surface and I address them, then I move beyond that.
Yeah.
And that's the point.
I think this is a solid step, and I'm eager to see how it plays out for you this week.
Me too. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Luminita. This will be a final one. Martha, are you here? Where are you?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you go. I can't. Like, bless you, Martha. Where would you like to begin? How can we go on a quest to support you?
I just want to know if I have any blockages and if there's anything, if I'm doing what I guess not what I'm supposed to do, if I'm on the right track, mostly, if I'm working on the things I'm supposed to be working.
There is something in your diamond eye that it looks like you're trying to silence, almost like you're hitting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What could that mean to you?
I don't know.
Do you remember your dreams?
Most of the time I don't. There are times I do remember, but most of the time I don't remember them.
So everybody can pay attention to this. Now, it's not, you don't always have to do dream work.
Mhm.
Dream work it's a phase, and then you can set it down and then you come back to it. But when
Mhm.
it's time to do dream work, here's my basic advice. 2 ends. Before you go to bed, you want to just do a little meditation to calm down. Now, if you already do a little meditation, add a little bit of yoga. Just a little, just like gentle stretch yourself out. While you're doing the yoga, I want you to think about what you want to dream about. So you're thinking about a question you might have, thinking a quest. You're going on a quest into spirit space to learn. Now, it's not necessarily going to work right away, but the point is to have some of your thoughts before you go to bed centered around whatever you want to dream. So I call this dream casting. You're casting like you cast a play. You're trying to set up the conditions where you ask your questions in dream time.
Mhm.
Can I ask a
Then,
question here? Is this about astral traveling as well, or just dream?
yeah, and let's no, don't apply it to
No.
astral traveling.
Okay.
When you wake, I want you to stay still. Don't move. Don't roll over. Don't roll over. You want to stay in the same posture, because as soon as you move your body, you shift your ability to tune in. It's almost like the dream will evaporate far more easily.
Mhm.
And then you're learning to look for anchors. I call them little anchors to the dream. So you get a scene, you get a face. And what you'll find is you can kind of go backwards into the dream. And you're uncovering it in a way that unfolds a little like a flower. Now you could either stay in that approach, or at this point, once you get a couple anchors, you could get up and write. Some people find more success writing. I no longer write, but I filled several dream journals when I was learning to do this. The goal isn't to keep it. The goal is to deepen the connection.
Mm.
Now, the reason this matters for you, Martha, is one thing happens to people. Does anyone have experience with Chinese medicine? In acupuncture, they know that our body will isolate toxins into places where they will hurt our body less, often the joints.
Mhm.
The goal is, before your body can get rid of something, it at least wants to keep it from hurting the rest of your system. With chakra work, we're working on a different plane, and people often isolate toxic feelings into the diamond eye, into dream time. And once you've isolated them into dream time, then you numb out your dreams because your dreams are unpleasant. So this is very much like the class today, Martha, where I'm trying to convince you that even if it's unpleasant, you do kind of want to learn to look at what's there.
I do like the ones I do remember are unpleasant,
Yeah.
and I'm always arguing and fighting.
So
And
perfect. And so as a result, you want to avoid it, right? Because you don't want to have to think about those feelings, right? So what
I'm
it looks
just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. I'm just
So-
tired.
here's where we're going to lead, okay? Because it looks to me like you have an anger in you that's trying to draw a boundary, but then
Yeah.
you're silencing that anger because you know that it'll just generate animosity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we want to do is a third way. Now, I can see this story in your diamond eye. I could watch it happening. What we want is a third way where you notice the anger and you don't just shut it up, you honor it, but you're also pragmatic. Now, it doesn't help to just go straight at someone if it's just going to become a louder fight, right?
Mm-hmm,
So you want to develop the discernment. Is this actually going to be effective? But if it's not, you don't have to just repress it. Right now, you're just repressing it, and it's bad for your body.
Mm.
What you want to do is honor it in a way that forges a different path. Now, I know this sounds a little like straightforward at the moment, but the first thing is to try to use your anger as a catalyst to remember to do more practice. Now, I know I've told you this, but I want to deepen it, all right? But this is not the end. The goal is you're taking the fierceness within yourself and you're learning to channel it more effectively. Now, sometimes if you accept that anger is designed to help draw boundaries, then you could say, but if I express this anger now, will it really help me draw a boundary? Now, I know that sounds like it's like a
I'm
simple
really
question,
confused.
right?
I'm really confused on the anger because I do feel so much anger, and sometimes I feel bad. I feel bad that I feel anger.
Well, that's what we're trying to find a third way, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Anger is not good or bad.
Yeah.
Can you like really be with that? Anger is neither good nor bad.
Yeah.
Jesus kicked over the money tables. Like anger is there to help us draw boundaries.
Yeah.
But you have to work with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now try this. Anger is not a thing. I want this to sound sort of what? Anger is not its own thing. Anger is a way we express energy.
Yeah.
The energy is not anger itself. The goal is to recognize when you feel angry and to actually use it as a point of curiosity. I need some space to be present with this feeling. Now, the goal is to help channel it. You want to consciously channel it. So the reason you're going to practice first is because a practice can help you focus the anger. Now, from there, you need to start to take it to another level and be like, all right, is a light practice going to work? Or do you need to do something that lets you go, rah!
Mm-hmm.
And we increasingly create those opportunities for you. All right. So as you get deeper into the yoga, we're creating ways in which you can be fiercer. During one of my yoga trainings, they had 100 people in a room and we all got in a difficult pose. And then we did lion within that pose, lion's breath.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And everybody in the room was yelling at the same time through lion's breath. And the goal is to train ourselves to be able to channel anger. Now, typically, a lot of people, anger is something you hold down, and then it bursts out, right?
Yeah.
And then you hold it down, and then it bursts out.
Yeah.
This is not the best expression.
No. So like, so what you're saying, I just want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly, is that when I feel anger, I need to pause and remove myself from the situation and go meditate.
Well, ultimately, anything to change it. So you're using anger as like a little bell on your phone. Before I have a session with you, Martha, I got a little bell that said in 10 minutes, I have a session with Martha.
Yeah.
You're turning your anger into a little bell that says, I got to practice soon. Now, maybe you can't go immediately, but you're using it as a trigger that says soon. Now, in some circumstances, maybe you can't get away at all, so you do it internally. But what you want is to develop a new relationship with this feeling of anger. So you're neither blurting, nor what you're doing is knocking it down within your head, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's hurting you.
But like if I don't express myself right, like scream, I cry.
So it's trying to come out in one way or another, right?
Yes. So
what we want to do is sublimate it even more into an intensity of practice. Now, this is where people sometimes develop a new understanding of what yoga is. Yoga is fierce shit. I was telling Martha last week, I want you to start thinking of yogi as like Jedi. You can change reality because what you're doing is you're taking this energy and you're focusing it inwards until it goes into another plane of existence. Mm-hmm. So we want you to stop stopping your anger, but rechannel it first into the practice and then into intentions that come out of the practice.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm so sorry that I keep asking questions.
It's beautiful. I want you to ask these questions.
So like I crochet,
mm-hmm.
right? So after, like, let's say I can't at the moment go meditate, but when I do find the time, go meditate or cry and then meditate and then go do something that I want to do, that I love, that makes my heart feel good. Is that how?
Definitely could. Although that might not hold the feeling, right?
Okay.
So the fierceness of anger, I definitely want. you to have some space to cry, but I want it to be sort of fierce crying, okay? Not I'm getting broken, life sucks crying.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Sort of more like a focused, like, God, this is fucking hard.
Yeah.
All right? But not, oh, why is the world so mean to me? I have to give up on life. None of that.
Yeah.
Okay? And so that at that point, maybe crocheting won't hold the energy.
Mm-hmm.
If it does, awesome. But ultimately, we're trying to create this connection. Anger triggers need for practice. Practice triggers deeper focus. And from that point of different focus, you ask the real question. What can I do about this? What can I do? Now, sometimes that's one step, just one step, one next step, practical step, calling a friend who knows you and the person, you know, and that could be a huge step because sometimes that's admitting a truth that you don't want to admit, right? So the first level is anger is neither expression nor repression. You want this third way. You're doing the practice because at least it's healthier, right? But then in that health, you're establishing a new rhythm, and then you're going to pray. At the end of your practice, you're going to pray. What's one step I can really take? Now, I worked with a woman who was beaten and raped for over a decade. When she was in that circumstance, she couldn't just lash back. It would mean violence, right? So we're being very practical about whatever challenges are in front of our face. Now, I was given this example ideally, so pray to God, none of you have to face that depth of threat. But when you're under a very awful depth of threat, you still want to retain your awareness enough to make clear decisions. She was able to save money before she met me. She was able to squirrel away money, hide it, and get out. But she couldn't just leave. She had to plan. She had daughters. So even when you're under threats, you want to retain your awareness enough that you can make conscious, intentional decisions one by one, step by step. You're forging the kind of mind that survives through challenge. Right now, you're just telling yourself to stop because you know if you get mad back, it's just going to escalate. I want you to internalize that, turn that anger. You're going to convert that anger into a new kind of power. Martha is a processing plant of energy. You're going to transmute energy until you're able to shake the world from underneath.
Okay.
We're with you.
Okay. Thank you.
You can do this. Yeah, you just let go of some fear. That was cool.
Yeah.
Good job. Wow. Does that feel good?
I do.
I just watched energy just like pop straight up. That was really cool, Martha. That alone is a really good job. And it's so neat. It's so neat to watch it happen.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Week by week, Martha, you're building the strength you need.
Yes.
Thank you all. Let's do some breaths in our hearts together, all right? A lot of energy this week. Just center it. Sometimes when we witness other people's healings, it's healing for us. And sometimes the witness is a gift in that you're supporting this other person in their process. And you know that it's not your challenge. Pray for each other in this. May we each be empowered to take the steps that are healthiest for us to enliven our spirit, heal our wounds, and bring divine life into the world. Much love.